My name is Muhammed Yunus. I believe the distance between the possible and impossible is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Very soon it will overlap with each other. Nothing will remain as impossible anymore.
I got very excited by Impossible and this concept of using an app, using a website, using existing tools that are out there, social networks, where we know there's lots of things people would like to do for their friends, for people they don't know, to meet new people, but they don't have an easy facilitation to do that. And that was Lily's concept, is to build that kind of a tool. And so that's how I got involved.
Let's start on gift economy. And as I'm somebody who believes in it experientially and theoretically, but you're somebody who's built it, and what's your experience? Why do you love it? What do you think?
Great. So, I think the best thing to do is to talk just for a moment about the concept of gift economy in a broader framework. Normally in society, we think, by and large, mostly when we're thinking about economics and politics and issues like this, we think mostly about either the getting things done in society through the use of force or through trade. There's a whole third way, a whole sector that just doesn't get nearly as much attention, which is the gift economy. And there are many historical examples of the gift economy, but today the most relevant, and certainly the most relevant to me, would be in open source software and in intellectual works online. So I started thinking about what are the tools that people need in order to be able to share more effectively, because I thought that they would, and it turns out they did. Millions of people have contributed to Wikipedia, but really it's really a core community of several thousand people who have all worked together quite passionately now for many years, 12 years now, to give this amazing gift to the world in hundreds of languages, and it's blah blah blah, it's popular. So what I find and what I believe to be true is that this kind of social sharing, this kind of sharing, people want to do it, and there's a lot of different motivations, and we don't even have to really understand all the motivations that people have for wanting to do this. It might be to meet new people, have an interesting experience, feel charitable, share something that they know, whatever it might be that motivates people. But everything about Wikipedia could have been done 5 years earlier, except the tools weren't all there. And I believe that tools for social sharing are really important. They kind of facilitate the process.
When you give, you release chemicals that make you happy. You create subtle relationships between the parties involved. So that's the kind of social cohesion element that I think is really fundamental to wanting to do this idea. And it tends towards reciprocity, the idea of kind of positive debt that needs to be repaid to the person who gave or to the collective. And I think one thing I remember we talked about was with Wikipedia, your experience of people who've given, like the kind of big contributors, expressing how much they enjoy that process. And it's a curious thing, I think, that we kind of don't take for granted the fact that actually you could really enjoy giving, and trying to not make it worthy or charitable, but actually realise that there's a reward in it. Yeah. And ultimately it comes back around to you if you're in a big network doing it. But even the immediate act could be a kind of fulfilling one. And I think that's your experience from the community of Wikipedia.
Yeah, very few people at Wikipedia do it out of a sense of charitable duty, that they have to, sort of have to give back. Those kind of words just don't come up a lot, or those feelings don't come up. Instead, they do it because it's interesting, it's fun. Don't get Lily started talking about thank you, because she absolutely is. It's all about thank you.
Gratitude is where it's going.
Exactly.
The main kind of purpose of Impossible is the gift economy, and that's how it begins. And then I was really, for a very, very long time, trying to work out how I could run that in a monetary system and not create a kind of inherent paradox there. And it was really wonderful meeting Professor Yunus and learning a lot about his model. I was Satius that I went out to Bangladesh and studied it and thought very deeply about it. There's, as I'm sure he'll tell you, there's a commitment with it that 100% of the profit made by the company goes back into the social mission or can fund other social businesses. And before I'd gone to Bangladesh, I was quite sure that we were going to make it for profit and put the profit into the social mission as such, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure where exactly to draw the line in the sand, whether it would be 50-50, 90-10, 60-40, and part of that was predicated on the idea that investors would have a need for a return, and I didn't quite believe it'd be able to do 100. I went out to Bangladesh and thought very deeply about it, and I really believe that there's a kind of subtle paradigm shift it presents with 100%, that even if you were to leave 1%, even if you do 99.1 in the kind of old model, and arguably flawed model, you wouldn't actually be creating that paradigm shift. So I came back from Bangladesh with that in heart, and amazingly had met very recently the kind of the guy who's now a business partner in building this, who, instead of running away when I told him that because he was going to be an investor, said he would do it as a gift, and he's been kind of an ally in our team ever since. So it's kind of been, actually been extraordinary, the generosity it's met. But it'd be really interesting to hear from your perspective. I don't actually know when you began social business as a structure, and what the kind of inspiration was, and why you think that those tenets are really important.
I don't know it either. But I'm very happy that at least you can tell that coming to Davos means something. Like meeting you and having you to follow a path and coming within a year with an idea, and now you're sharing with everybody else. I think this is a success of bringing people together, like you. So this is one plus point for Davos. And I can tell you that Lily is a very fast learner, because it's not easy to catch the essence of social business. It takes people a lot of time to understand how can you run a business if you're not making money. She not only got the hang of it, and she designed the business herself, and a very interesting design to do it. So I'm very happy to be here to listen to you and see how the whole thing is working out. And I said, I don't know when I started social business, because I didn't design social business in a social business thinking. All I was trying to do as I confront problems after problems, if I focus on a particular problem and I'm trying to find a solution for it, it kind of came as a reflex from me to design a business to solve the problem. There are other ways you mobilize people to address this and kind of share things and get it done and so on. I didn't go that way. Or you bring donors money or raise funds to help it to solve this problem. I didn't go that way. So I always try to do it in a business way, meaning that whatever money I'm spending on this one should come back, so that I can keep on doing this with the same money over and over again. That's the whole idea. And I did that kind of company, a lot of them, company after company, because there are so many problems. For every company, I created a business, and I have done that, and there are so many of them already. Then I realized that people are getting a little bit jittery about it when I say I'm building these businesses to solve problems. What about making money? I said, no, I'm not making money. So they get very nervous about it. How can you run a business if you're not making money? Then why are you making business? Why don't you just be a philanthropist and do something else? I said, no, I want to do it in a business. In a philanthropy, I can give away money and I'll solve part of the problem, but the money will never come back. So I have to raise money or give up more money from my side to do the same thing once more time. And then I'm empty again. So I said, that doesn't sound very attractive to me. I want to do things which will keep on working with its own juice. It's a kind of self-fueling engine. So I like this better than anything else. So then I started giving it a new name to this class of businesses that I created, and called it social business. Because businesses that we run is a kind of a person-centric businesses. It's all benefit comes to the owners, the shareholders, and so on. So this is the other direction. It's a direction to help others solve problems for others. So that is something that I thought it was better described by calling it social business. Sometimes I call them also selfless business, Because if you put this as a selfish business, this would be the selfless business, because you're not addressing you, you are addressing the others. So that's a selfless. And people have enormous selflessness inside of them. And this was never unleashed, because our textbooks never introduced us to that door. So that door remains blocked completely. So we think there's only one door, make money and be selfish. And if you're selfish by yourself, you are contributing to the world, to our world, because you make money, you create wealth, that's a benefit the world gets. And I didn't buy that. I said human beings are not one-track people. Human beings are multi-track people. So why don't we use all those tracks and explore our own selflessness too? So that's how this category became the selfless category and so on. And I thought it's all interesting in the context of Bangladesh, we do that. Then I saw that many multinational companies became interested in that. So they wanted to join venture with us. And that was the first time I realized that it's not just a local thing, it has an international dimension to it. So that makes it more realistic now. So I'm talking about human being, not just one tribe in one place. So this is a more human trait. And we did the joint venture after joint ventures. And many other countries became interested to have social business in those countries, rich countries, middle-income countries, poor countries. So that's how the whole thing began. And when you mentioned about your thing, and we design social business, we start with a problem. As I said, it's a problem-solving company. So if you're creating a company, what is the problem? So what is the problem in your case? I was thinking, what is the problem she's trying to address? No, you don't have to answer it. I'm answering myself. I'm just exploring what I thought. Then you'll say, no, that's not how I'm doing. So I said, what is their problem? You have to have a problem to solve. Then you become a social business. Then the question is it successful? Yes. Then I said, well, there are several problems here. The major problem is isolation. People are isolated. People, the way we live our life, we became islands. We lose contact with each other. We only create a little island and we see each other from a distance, say hello, hi, and all that. And that creates problem because I become smaller than what I am. So if you can touch each other, we become bigger than what we are right now. Because that's gradually our bigger self unleashes itself, it shows up into us. Maybe this is what she's trying to do. She calls it gift economy and so on. But basically connecting people so that islands come closer and closer and become a bigger island. And then it becomes bigger, it's still bigger island, and so on, and become a bigger space for themselves. This is it. I said that makes sense because all human beings have so many creative powers inside of them. But in our everyday life, we use only a small piece of it and we remain happy with it because that's all we need and we became happy. The rest of our ability remains unutilized, all of us, wherever we are. Compared to what we have, the power we have, the creative instinct we have, only we use whatever comfortably we got in and somehow we could explore ourselves and we settle down with that one. We don't explore other things, we forget about it. And because it makes it very comfortable as an island in that fashion because you don't have to mess around with everything else behind. I said, no, she wants to utilize the unutilized self, the lot of unutilized capacity that I have. I can use this. And by using unutilized capacity of each other, we become much bigger capacity than what we are. Probably that's what we are she's trying to do. That's what this economy she's talking about. And then we got the problem fixed. I said, this is the problem. Now let's address that problem, how you do that. Then she will probably explain, this is how I felt it. Bringing the islands together to make a bigger mass, and then unutilized capacity of its people. And then a few hours back, she was showing me on the phone how this is all done on the mobile phone and so on. So it's a very elaborate thing. I'm very impressed by the way, what capacity you have, what you can do, and all you have options and so on. It looks very attractive. People can say, yes, this is what I can do, this is what I need, this is what I can offer, those kind of things, the whole menu of it. And people will see in doing that, people will discover many other things she was not listing before. Now in the process, she's found something else. I could do this too. Then add this item too. Yes, actually, I'm good at that. I didn't realize that I'm good at that. So I feel very satisfied that I've used something which I never used before. I didn't know that I had it before. So this is something very good. And I was saying that, well, you put it in a kind of personal way. You're addressing me as a person, and everybody's reaching out to another person. Maybe in some way you can think about, in addition to the personal menu and personal kind of interactions, you can have to think about circles. 3 of us, 4 of us create a circle of our excess capacity, and so offer this excess capacity to others, individuals, and circles that can you use our full capacity, so that we become a bigger group and bigger circle, so that this island now adjusting each other's circle. Maybe that's one idea too. So there are a lot of possibilities starting from here, and Jamie will tell you that when he starts Wikipedia, probably he didn't realize that what would be the end product of it in the beginning, because he was trying to do something in the beginning, and then it led to the whole structure here. So this is the beginning of that process. Today, whatever I heard is the beginning, but you don't know where it will end, because each one will add up, each one will come up with ideas, and this will become enriched, and then people say, hey, this is great, I didn't think that it could be done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very
It's
good.
not due yet.
Oh, yeah, it's on the way. It's on the way. It's coming. Thank you.
That was a very, very beautiful way to see it, and definitely that is the problem, I think, that it's trying to solve, this subtle relationship between individuals, making us feel connected again. And as you pointed out, I've got an amazing group of people who've been helping on this journey to build it, and we've done the best job we can to get to launching in March. But when we launch, it will be the beginning, and it might end up being ignored. It might end up changing. It's being built in a way that users will define it in many ways. So what we're doing is putting out an idea, and if it resonates with people, hoping that they can become part of building it and making it possible. And on that note, I thought I'd do one last question at the end to you both. Because the play with the word impossible, you asked me earlier, you went, why do you call it impossible without a question mark, And I was like, well, it says possible.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer.
But the reason for that word is is playing on the idea that it's a very utopian proposition, but I do believe in people and I believe that it might work. And both of you have achieved phenomenal things in a very utopian kind of aspiration. And I'm sure before you do Wikipedia, before you did the Grameen banking, and before the social business, you potentially met cynics or cynic even in yourself.
All the time, we still do.
Yeah.
Actually, when I'm explaining this to people, I meet a lot of people who they want to know in more detail, how is it going to work? Is there a point system? Is this or that? But I can always, with some of them, they just want to know. With some of them, I know they're ready with their killer objections. So they want to know your answer so they can tell you why it won't work. And it doesn't matter which answer you give, it won't work. So I think that's kind of fun to play with Impossible.
Yeah.
Well, for me, what I loved about that name Impossible is, so in Wikipedia, the original vision statement is, imagine a world in which every single person on the planet is given free access to the sum of all human knowledge. That's what we're doing. I mean, that's a huge, big thing to say. And even though that sounds like an impossible goal, it's just enormous. More people are willing to go for that kind of goal than if I had said, let's write 100 articles about every country in the world, which doesn't sound that exciting. And so if this were called, this is an idea that will probably work a little bit.com, it doesn't have any kind of emotional challenge, but to say, this is impossible, we know it's impossible, and you know what, we're going to do it anyway, that's cool. Like, that's what people like, is to say, let's show people a different way of thinking, a different way of living, and it's just more fun that way. So I think it's really cool.